Hello and welcome to yet another video, and in this video I would like to talk about this gimbal right here. It's the DJI Ronin SC gimbal from DJI. It's a gimbal that I actually originally bought to upgrade from my video gimbal, which is this Julian crane gimbal. It was my main, and still is my main video gimbal, ironically. I would like to talk about pretty much my thought about this gimbal, my experience, both good and bad experience with this gimbal, because at the time when I bought this, I wish I would have know more about the bad side of this gimbal, which it has a lot of really bad side about this gimbal, and this is why I really wanted to make this video, in case you are considering of getting this gimbal. Now, I hope that this video will not put you off from buying this gimbal. It's just the way that I shoot and the way that I do things with my gimbal might not be the same as the way that you shoot, because different videographers and different photographers shoot differently from one another. And anyway, so of course at the time I was looking at this gimbal. I saw a lot of good YouTube reviewers and good YouTube videos demonstrating this gimbal, and also giving reviews, and also read a lot of good reviews about this gimbal. Pretty much barely any negatives about this gimbal. And even the size was part of the positive thing about this gimbal, even though it's actually much bigger than this one. Even if I were to take this mini tripod out. Please don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to bash this gimbal. It is a good gimbal at the end of the day, but the way that I use it, it's actually really frustrating to use. And anyway, let's get into the positive things. So the first thing I like about it is the build quality. It's actually really nicely built. I also like the Wi-Fi feature that it has connecting to my phone, that I can control this, whether it's doing time-lapse or doing calibration, which it's only up until this point that I own this. I had to calibrate it for some reason. Also the fact that it can connect to my cameras. We'll talk about that in the negative side as well. And also the fact that there's this measurement, precise measurement thing, and also the quick release plate that it comes with. Because I didn't have the quick release plate for my main gimbal. And even though you can pretty much custom make yourself a quick release plate, I never actually bothered doing that. And also on the quick release plate, this part where it memorizes where you last put it on, which is really, really nice. And pretty much all the other features that you can do, and different speed that it can do, and everything. And yeah, it was actually pretty nice. Now onto the bad side of this, negative side, which I really wish a lot of reviewers would have mentioned. Or maybe they have now, because it's been a long time ago since I bought this gimbal. Anyway, into the video. So the bad part is that how unreliable this gimbal really is. So with this gimbal, the Julian gimbal that I was using mainly, whether using my Canon system, my Fuji system, regardless of weight, I always stick within the weight limit of things, so that it doesn't put too much burden on either of the gimbal's motor. And with this gimbal, I am able to mount both Canon and Fuji system that I mainly use for video on there, and just work with it fine. As long as if I have it balanced, like manually balanced, then it just works all day fine. With anything, I can just switch it between two cameras and it will still work fine. Now with the Ronin SC, what I figured is after I balance it here, I need to calibrate it, because otherwise it will just, like, at some point violently, I don't know, vibrate really, really heavily, and it's just really annoying, really annoying, because the sound of the motor when it vibrates, that asking you to calibrate the motors, is really annoying. That is just so annoying. Because it can also happen in the middle of a shoot. Sometimes you think you have everything balanced and you also pre-calibrate it. An hour later during the shoot, you still have the same setup. Well, I would still have the same setup, same camera, same lens, haven't changed the memory card or battery. And it would just start vibrating, asking me to calibrate. And the annoying part is that I will need to connect it to my phone. So I always need my phone by my side in order to calibrate this. And sometimes if I'm doing documentary video work, which is the main work that I use these gimbals for, I don't always have my phone around. My phone can be just taking care of the time-lapse, or taking care of controlling my other cameras that's shooting B-rolls, or as a C camera. I don't know. So it's not always available, and that is very annoying. Another factor is also for you're just switching between cameras, you will always need to rearrange everything, whereas this gimbal, if I'm changing between my Canon and Fuji system, sometimes I'm just really in a rush. This gimbal will just automatically calibrate itself and just work with the motor to stabilize it. Unless if the battery is like really low, under 10%, then the motor will, you know, be hard working and may not hold the weight as well. But with this, regardless of the setup, or whether it's the same or different, it's just, it needs calibration for some reason. And also after working with it for like 1 hour or 2 hours of work with it, the horizon point, the leveling of the horizon point will start to tilt a little bit, which also annoys me. Like, what's the point of calibrating it before the shoot if 1 or 2 hours into it, regardless of the setup I have, whether it's the same or different, it will start tilting to either left or right. My experience is that it will always start to tilt to the right side a little bit, and I would need to recalibrate that, and that's just really annoying. The third point that I would like to mention is if you're using a Fuji system, you might be lucky if it connects to your camera, but with mine, I did buy the recommended cable to work with my Fuji cameras, and I have the right firmware, whether it's on the gimbal or on the camera, and it still doesn't seem to be communicating with each other. I really don't know why. I read the manuals and also read the forums and everything. It just does not work. Now with my Canon and Nikon, I mean, it works fine, but it's also not a reliable connection at all. And also the cable connection is just causing the gimbal to actually not be as stable as it can, even after calibration for some reason. So that is really an annoying factor, really, really annoying. Yeah, so that's pretty much my short rant, but also negative point about this gimbal. Otherwise, the reason that I still keep this gimbal is actually for its time-lapse feature. It does vertical and horizontal time-lapse very, very well, but diagonal, kind of like the cross kind of time-lapse, it struggles a lot. The motor just jitters so much that I cannot use, even with post stabilization, it jitters that bad. And living here in Northern Europe, Netherlands, well, Germany and Netherlands, where there is a lot of strong wind, especially here in the Netherlands, hence the name Netherlands, under sea level, where the wind can be ridiculously strong from all sides. The motor can work, like, it can cause it to jitter so much. But for the type of time-lapse video that I usually shoot with, for my documentary, promotional videos, commercials, things like that, I can work around that jitterness, and most of the time the horizontal or the vertical time-lapse works pretty well, so that's pretty good. So in the same time, I'm mainly not using this as a gimbal, which is why I bought it for in the first place, but I'm using it as a time-lapse module, which is ironic, really, to think about it. Of course, when you have everything nicely balanced, nicely calibrated, it will work very smooth, smoother than my main gimbal, which is the main point why I bought this one, to have a very smooth video. But since it's nowhere as reliable for video work, well, gimbal video work, I just don't trust it anymore, and especially when I'm doing documentary, which is mainly why I have gimbal for documentary purposes, is, you know, I'm not easy on my gear. This one, I wish this camera, my backup camera, can pick it up, because my main camera for video is out of battery, and I left the battery charger at my girlfriend's place. Very smart. There's actually a lot of scratches all around. It's actually losing a lot of paint already, because I do throw, like, after use, I do throw this gimbal into the bag, or throw it onto like the back of a pickup truck or the back of a vehicle, some sort, just to store it there, because I don't have time to baby my gear when, you know, I'm out there shooting. And this, with the problem of the motor not being so reliable and everything, it just makes me think that it's not durable, you know. This thing, even though it's not weather sealed, I throw it around. I did shoots in rain and everything, and it survived everything. But with this one, I just feel like a tiny drop of rain on this, I would be very, very worried about this particular gimbal, which is absurd, because I shouldn't really be worrying about my gear at all when I'm out there shooting in the field. So yeah, all I can really use this professionally for is just time-lapse, which is ironic, because I I bought it to replace this, as I mentioned before, but now I'm ending up buying it so that I don't have to buy, like I end up keeping it so that I don't have to buy a time-lapse module, which actually costs much more expensive than this one if you want it to be a nice time-lapse, like a module that you can do vertical and horizontal with reliably, with the weight of the camera that I'm actually putting on it, because you're looking at roughly between 450 euros to around 600 euros between those price range. Whew. So yeah, that's it for now. I hope my experience on this gimbal have somewhat helped you a little bit on like the downside of this gimbal. Yes, it's a very nice gimbal. It's very smooth if you have time to always calibrate it and really check the precise point of balancing it. But if you don't have a lot of time and patience, then it might not be the right gimbal for you. Then look for something like DJI Crane gimbal. You don't really need to spend a lot of time balancing it and calibrating it at all, really. Yeah, the motor just works perfectly fine with those. But yeah, that's pretty much in a nutshell what I have to say about this gimbal. It's not a review video, please don't hate me. But it's just my experience and what I just have to say about it. If you need a free photography guidebook, I have it on my website. The link will be down in the description below. And it's absolutely free. You don't need to sign up for anything. I will not bombard you with newsletters or emails subscription thing. Anyway, I have been talking too much, and I should pretty much end it now. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any suggestions or any questions, please leave a message down below in the comment or send it to me via Instagram. Thank you very much for watching, and have fun shooting. Bye.